Hi everyone, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Felix. So Felix, welcome man.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Felix, it's kind of funny that you're standing up for this interview. But, I don't think I've ever had anyone standing up during the interview, but there's a first for everything. What is your official type? Can you give us your official type?
So my type is double feminine, Ti-Se, consume, sleep, play, blast.
What did you think and how did you feel when you got your typing results back?
So yeah, I typed myself actually double masculine, Ti-Ni, sleep, blast, consume, play. Although I was very unsure about the blast, consume coin in the middle. Well, at least I thought it was in the middle. So I had to wait a whole month for my result. And I was very nervous and excited when I got the email. And yeah, I was relieved about some points and totally surprised about others. Like I saw they also typed me a sleek TI, and I thought, yeah, I was relieved that I could actually see like the biggest imbalance in my life and myself clearly, and then I had figured that out. And basically, I already knew where most of my problems would be coming from. But I had never ever thought that I would be savior sensory or savior gather. So I was completely surprised by that. And yeah, I was really excited to see or hear what they had to say about that and how they came up with this conclusion.
Did you think you were double masculine? Because it looks like you're very fit. Like you look like you're like someone that works out a lot. It's because you think you're like very kinesthetic. Is that why?
Yeah, partly because I like to work out. I like to do physical things. And when when I heard about this idea that you have feminine and masculine parts, that made a lot of sense to me, because I could really feel that I had a masculine and a feminine side to my personality. And then I connected in my mind the feminine side more to my introverted side.
Okay.
Yeah, and but I also felt that I had this other side that can be aggressive and pushy and angry and very determined. And I just placed it wrong. What I thought was my introverted feminine side were more introverted feelings, I would say. Or I see now.
We're very similar in the sense that we both have double feminine play or outer world, and we both have double masculine sleep. So let's go start this interview with that. So talk about being double masculine inside first. You know, masculine Ti and masculine Ni. You know, and it's a savior state. You know, it's your sleep second. So talk about your experience with that.
Yeah, it's a savior state, which makes it actually hard to talk about because it's so it happens automatically and without being really conscious of it. And I would describe it as this massive black hole inside of me that constantly pulls me in. Like it works really well together with my consume at the top. Like I hear something that's interesting to me, like op, or read something interesting, and I immediately pull it inwards to think about it and dissect it and try to get to the bottom of it. Like, so what can you do with op? What does it actually mean? What are the concepts behind it? This is what I immediately want to figure out. And the hard part is the opposite, to then actually come out and do something with it, to talk about it, to or write something.
Gotcha. It's also NT, so I guess that's a figuring out aspect of that masculine sleep. They also said that sleep is used to set boundaries with other people. Now, because you're an IP to begin with, and then you have the double masculine sleep, you're really going to be setting boundaries with other human beings. So talk about you on a savior state, kind of like, you know what, you're stepping into my boundary. I don't want to spend time with you or whatever. Like, talk about that experience where you set boundaries with the tribe.
Oh my God, this is actually really, these situations are actually really tough for me because I'm aware of what I want. Like if someone is stepping into my boundaries, if I don't want to talk to them, don't want to have anything to do with them, maybe in general, maybe just right now because I'm busy, I have other things to do. It makes me really uncomfortable to push them away because I would just prefer that they leave me alone and that they know to leave me alone. But this feminine FE, and I think this fear of a negative emotion might make it sometimes hard to actually speak my mind. Although this is what I want to do, to say to them, or to actually give them the reasons why I don't want to, because I need my time alone, because I have other things to do, because I have other things planned. And I try to do it as politely as possible. But sometimes, yeah, I just avoid people and just don't write them back if I don't want to, or yeah.
Don't write them
Just
back.
just hide from them.
Is that your blast last right there? You don't want to like communicate with the tribe.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't speak up. Talk about your double feminine play though. So, do you think your double feminine play is making it hard for you to directly confront the tribe, or tell the tribe, hey, you know what, I don't feel like hanging out today, you know?
Yeah, pretty much. Like if I get invited to something, I kind of feel obligated to go along. Sometimes I really want to, and it's fun. Sometimes I don't, for whatever reason, like I'm too busy, or like I feel drained, I need my time alone, or I went out the last couple of days and I just need a goddamn break. But it makes it difficult to push on the tribe, and I would prefer to just not do that.
I'm curious to hear your experience with this. So, one of my best friends, he's an INTP, and he's kind of like an asshole INTP, right? Like, kind of like we're trying to make plans with him, and he's kind of like what you're saying. I don't want, he doesn't want to go hang out, blah blah blah, and he's very particular about hanging out with people. And he doesn't want to hang out in big groups, but he prefers to hang out one-on-one, because he said one-on-one you get a deeper conversation. With a big group, it's just messy. And then you get him in a big group setting, and he's having more fun than everyone else, which is like what the hell, like completely contradicts on what he said he thinks is gonna happen. Have you ever been in that situation where like the tribe invited you to go somewhere, you're like, I don't want to go, but okay, fine. They keep harassing me. I'll agree. Okay, cause you're feminine with the tribe. You go there, you're like, oh my god, I'm having so much fun. This is fantastic. Like, have you ever been in that situation?
Yeah, pretty much. So in general, I prefer to have this one-on-one time, or just meet with maybe even 2 or 3 people. Yeah, like it would be best if it's my close friends that I'm familiar with, that I feel safe with, that I can be open with. This is what I enjoy the most. But sometimes, yeah, I get invited to a larger party, or to a situation where I don't know most of the people. And in these situations, I always feel awkward and uncomfortable, and I'm reluctant to go there. But then sometimes it just clicks, and I have a lot of fun because it turns out I like these strange people. And
Isn't that interesting, eh? Like, life is interesting. So your play is also SF, so you don't necessarily need to interact with people in an NT way. You can just like be stupid and just party. Have you ever had a phase in your life where you were going all in SF, just partying or like having fun with people and just being a stupid person?
I don't think I had a phase where I went all in. But I was usually like NT and ST, like during the daytime when I went to school and took that very seriously, and then could just switch to the SF in the evenings, like go out with friends to a bar, do whatever.
And how did you like that like mix? When in the morning you did ST, NT, and then at night you were like, okay, you know what? Let's just be stupid and get SF.
I think for me that's the ideal situation.
Oh, that's
Actually,
perfect.
because I really enjoy BSF, particularly when I spend time with people that I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like there are situations that I just hate. Like I don't really like going to clubs, especially if I don't like the music.
Okay.
But I like to concerts, go to concerts of bands that I love, and then I can have a lot of fun. Although it's extremely crowded and there are a lot of people. It
Oh,
really
okay. I see.
it
So
depends on the situation
yeah,
and on my just on my own opinions and my own preferences.
that's a good observation actually, because I also love concerts, but I don't necessarily like going to clubs because it's there's a big difference, right? You know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it feels different.
yeah.
And,
It does. You're right. You're right. I never.
PSF is totally different, yeah, and I like one but not the other.
Yeah. No, that's a very good example. I like that one. Very ST clear.
This is what Shannon Dave said.
Yeah, that's very ST clear right there. So since we're not topic, talk about your ST consume. Your ST consume is feminine SE and your TI is masculine. So okay. So talk about your ST
Yeah,
consume.
that's another one that's so unconscious that I wasn't even aware that I was doing it so much. So their typing really fucked with my mind in that way. I would describe it maybe as my sweetest addiction, because I just love to read, to listen to music, to watch movies and videos, listen to podcasts. I can really do that all day and just learning new, making new experiences. Um, and it just doesn't stop. Um, and yeah, I always look for new ideas, new solutions to problems, and I enjoy that just so much. Like if I sit there and read a book that I love, it feels like the world is all right.
Oh, okay.
That I can just yeah, kind of dive into. Um, but on the flip side, it gets often really hard, and I noticed that after the typing, that it's hard for me to stay focused, hard for me to stay on track, and especially do something in the outside world. I always go back to my mind and flip to another idea, flip to another thought, think about something else that I'm interested in, that I might read to, and that I might look into. And it's often just physical things. I really enjoy the physical experience of it. Like I think you talked about in another interview about movies and how it might be fine for you for someone else to tell you about the movie first, like that you don't value the actual physical experiences that much.
What? I don't remember
At
this.
least, that's how I understood it.
Wait, going to movies or what? I'm confused.
Yeah, going to the movies, actually watching them.
Yeah, I like watching the movie for the movie. I love it. But I also like to spend time with people. I like both aspect of it. So
Yeah.
when you consume, do you not get bored looking at the detail, like line by line, the details of like the stuff that you're reading? Because there's so, especially if it's like really fact dense, like you're into fitness, right? What's that woman's name? Dr. Rhonda Patrick, is that her name? Or Dr.
Yeah, Rhonda Patrick. Yeah.
Like her information is so dense. Like I can't consume it. It's too dense, you know. But like that is that kind of information something that like you love to absorb because it's so like dense with facts, you know.
Yes, that's part of it. Like I also listen a lot to fitness and health podcasts, um, but the information is so condensed, and usually you have these experts like actual biochemists or nutritional scientists who spit all these facts and these technical details at you that I get confused because I'm not a biochemist. I don't understand this stuff, but I try to learn as much as I can, and I slowly learn more and more. But I ask myself, okay, what are the conclusions and the practical ideas that I can take from them? and I try to condense the information into ideas that are understandable and useful to me.
Okay, so what works
But
for you?
what works for me. But going through something line by line can be something very hard. So typical SI stuff like manuals, for example, where you have to follow like a strict set of rules. This is hard. This is annoying. I just want to always jump to the next spot and go to the conclusion. And I don't have I'm not patient enough quite often.
Yeah, but it's like cooking, right? You do have to do it step by step, because if you miss a step, it doesn't taste the same, right? So
so SI is super powerful. I have the greatest respect for SI, but it's really hard.
Yeah, fair enough. So you were in a, okay, before I jump on this topic, actually, I'll go. So they say that people with TI prefers to keep work as personal, while people with FE and with the FE axis, then the socializing side is impersonal. So what I've seen a lot of people with FE TI axis do is they'll take someone out for lunch or dinner, and it's not after you have a meal together that you decide to, if you want to do business together, because the work side is personal, but the socializing side is not personal. Now, people with the TEFI axis, it's the opposite, where we will work with just about anybody. We don't care. Work is not personal. Who cares? But the socializing side is personal. So we're not going to hang out with just about anybody. It has to be someone that we like, right? So the whole concept of someone's going to take us out for lunch first. Like, I don't want to go out for lunch or dinner with you, even if I don't even know if I like you or not, but I'll go work with you. Who cares, right? So talk about your experience with that, like do you find that your socializing side is not personal and then the work side is personal, and you're not going to work with just about anybody?
Yeah, but how do I know if you like someone if you don't go to have lunch with them?
Maybe I'll go to work
that
with them.
might be the occasion to figure it out.
Well, I mean, they could be my coworker, and I from work, I know I don't like them, so I'm not going to go have lunch with them, I won't go to a work party, for example, because I know I don't want to see this my coworker, right?
I'm not quite sure that I can relate to that. I can say that work is personal for me in the sense that what I do needs to be important to me. Like, I couldn't do just anything just because other people are interested in this. So I want to do something that's valuable to others, but that is at the same time interesting and important to me, and that my TI really can attach to.
Well, what I'm saying though is,
yeah, I know that you don't care about who you are working with. So I would say that in a work situation, I care about that the people are competent, that they can do their job, and that they're polite and nice people that I like to be around with.
Okay.
But yeah, when I hang out with others or hanging out with my coworkers, if I don't like them, I wouldn't mind hanging out with them, because it would feel like a giant waste of time, and I don't like that. Okay. If I hang out with someone, I want to like them and enjoy the time. Why else would I hang out with them?
Gotcha. Okay. You have consumed and sleep in the first two of your animals. Have you ever been, especially when you were younger, been caught in like a looping situation where you're like just inside your head all the time and you almost lose touch of reality? Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, when I was younger, that happens every day.
Oh, every day. Okay.
No, I'm not sure if I lose touch of reality completely, but it's normal for me to get just stuck in my head, to be alone, to get triggered by something that I consume, and then pull it in with my sleep and think about it, and like not having the urge to come out and share it. or to talk it out with someone. Like, and I was always very withdrawn as a child and very shy and quiet. This is what my teachers always complain about. Like, yeah, we can see in his eyes that he thinks about it, that he's paying attention. And when we ask him a question, then he usually knows, but he never says anything.
Yeah.
Like on his, he never comes out on his own to say anything.
Gotcha. When did you feel like you got out of your shell? You started speaking up more and you started like interacting with people more?
I don't know. It was just a process that is still continuing to improve. Like, yeah, it's still difficult for me. It's something that I consciously have to decide to do. But when I finished high school and started at university, I met people that I was closer with. They were more similar to me, and that I could connect to more easily. And I think that helped me to get out of my shell. And at some point at university, I started teaching exercise classes, and yeah, I could really see the value in it. Like, first of all, for me, because if you have to teach something, you have to really understand it.
Yeah.
And also for others, because in that way I could help younger students to understand stuff that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, isn't that interesting where like after you consume, you don't really know if you know it until you can blast it. It's like a weird, it's kind of interesting how it works out, because you think you know it, and then you start blasting, you're like,
nope.
oh, no, yeah, exactly, nope, right? So
yeah. Or you try to go through by point,
yeah,
and then you notice, oh, there's something missing, there's a gap in my understanding.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what, this is a perfect time to bring this up. So you are energy dominant, not info dominant. So you said that it wasn't until you blasted that you realized there's missing information. So I want you to talk about the difference and how you experience being an energy dominant person, and then later on with that missing information because of the blast.
Yeah, okay. So I always thought before I got the official result that I was play last. So I knew I was an introvert. So for the longest time, I thought I actually was information dominant, but
Yeah.
I just misinterpreted my observations, because I'm super interested in information. Like, this is my double consume at the top that I would just want to take in. And I think the terminology is a bit off, that information dominant means rather information balanced, right? And that I'm not. Like, I'm really much more interested to take the information in for me, to learn about stuff that is just interesting to me, that I enjoy, or that's useful to me, that brings me closer to my goals, like information about health and fitness. But I'm just not interested to tell others about it, or that's not what I naturally do without making the conscious choice. I'm much more interested to get the information, to learn something new, to do something for myself with it.
Gotcha. Your boss is NF. What is your struggle with that NF blast? You know.
I guess that the main struggle would be to express and show my feelings. Like, quite often when I talk, and I really noticed that after I got my official result back, and I started to pay attention to myself and the way I talk in a different way, that I like to just give others my reason, explain why I have a certain opinion, why I think something is true, give you the facts. And I have a really hard time, like, it feels physically hard to tell you how I feel. Like, I kind of get choked up if I want to talk about something personal, maybe a struggle that I have, fears, anxieties that I have, or some kind of emotional pain.
I was watching a video of Conor McGregor.
Okay.
He was interviewed by Tony Robbins, pretty recently. I don't know if you've seen that interview, but he was going crazy on NF Blast, and he's an ISTP, right? Double masculine.
He's consume, play, sleep, blast.
Consume, play, blast, sleep. I think sleep, blast.
Okay.
Yeah, blast. Yeah, sleep, blast. And he was blasting like NF stuff, and I was like, that's so weird to see like an ISTP blasting, but yeah, it's like an INFJ's kind of blast. He was talking about The Secret. I don't know if you heard the book The Secret or like the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about The Secret. How at first he thought it was shit. It was like some dumb concept, but then when he started applying it, he said it was real. Like he said, I started visioning on my dreams, and like his like focusing on what he wanted, and it manifested in real life. And I was like, wow, that's what an ISTP's like NF blast is like. So have you ever done any of that kind of like you blasted something that's kind of wishy-washy to someone, but like there's some truth to that wishy-washiness?
Yeah, I guess so. So I'm also very interested in stuff like meditation and yoga, and I also practice that. And I'm aware that your perception of the things around you and how you accept or not accept something is extremely important to how you live your life and how your life turns out. And meditation can be viewed as a practice to become more aware, to quiet the mind, and to really focus on it, to get more aware of maybe your negative self-talk that you have. Especially when I was younger, I went in my mind in these negative loops that are repeated, a negative situation or negative thought again and again and again, and I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't fall asleep for hours because of stuff like that. And things like meditation really helped with that, helped notice that. And I really noticed how my own thoughts shape my actual behavior and shape how my life turns out.
Gotcha. Tell me about your TI truths. What are your truths?
The typical Lewis House question.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I actually really hate this question.
You know what's funny? Before you answer this question, I noticed that a lot of people with TI truths can't even tell me their TI truths. It's such a stupid question, but let's hear it anyways.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the FIs don't have a TI truth, and the TIs don't want to tell them because it's personal.
Yeah. Okay.
So why is you always asking this stupid question? No, I would say that something that I learned in the last couple of years, especially thinking more about the NF stuff, that I'm not alone. I'm not a separate being in the sense that I'm actually connected to everything else. Like TI is just one side of a coin, and it's actually nothing without FE. Like everything around me shapes my actual experience. Like I couldn't live like that without the ground to stand on, without the air to breathe, or talking to you and seeing you right now shapes my experience, shapes how I am right now. This would be one that I expanded on a lot. Oh my god,
that was very NF, by the way. I like that NF blast you just did. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. I think sharing your feelings for me is important. I think this is what really connects us, and I think you can do the most valuable work if you work together with others. And also I think maybe a third one is that comfort is the enemy. Like it's really important in many aspects that you do the right things that are often hard and uncomfortable, but that you have to find meaning in that.
Thanks for sharing those personal TI truths.
I tried.
John Jones is also an ISTP, and I think they talked about how he had to use his FE in the end, you know, kind of like share his feelings with the tribe. And he said he felt good when he did it. So, and you know, because it's FE, feelings and emotion are not personal. So talk about that first. Talk about the part where your emotions are not personal.
Oh, yeah, that part is always weird to me, because to me, my emotions feel very personal. I would rather say that emotions and feelings are what connect me to others. Like the work that I do and what I think is my own, it's kind of impersonal. I would not tell you my truths to connect to you. This is rather how I would describe it. And I had similar experiences like John Jones, I guess, that when I came out with my feelings, like when I talked to a friend about something that I struggled with, it was very uncomfortable for me. I had to really push myself to do it, but in the end, it brought us closer together, this moment of vulnerability. And this is how I would experience FE on the outside. Like, this is something that connects me to others.
Did you like that feeling where you became closer with someone because you shared that vulnerable?
Oh yes, very much. Yeah. And I recognize the tremendous power in it.
Yeah, it's like magic.
It really felt like magic to me. I guess especially because it's a demon. And I recognize that. I recognize this truth, but it's still difficult every time.
Yeah. Well, it's still the fourth, but you know, I think with practice, you should get better at using it. Because you're an IP, your biggest fear would be tribe hate. So talk about your fear of tribe hate. And have you ever experienced a big tribe hate tidal wave?
Yeah, so I always have this, like, I know irrational fear that the tribe might hurt me. That especially if I would be brutally honest with the tribe. Like also being afraid of criticism. This is, I guess, also a reason why I avoid the tribe. Like I try to just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, yeah, I would describe it like that. That I'm afraid that they might hurt me, and that I can't deal with it. But when it comes to big tidal waves of tribe hate, I don't know. Maybe that's a bad sign.
Okay, so in my opinion, spotting an IP is pretty easy because the moment you see someone getting a huge tidal wave of tribe hate, you're like, oh, this person's probably an IP. So I'll give you some example from my personal life, from some of my friends that are IPs that have received a huge amount of tribe tidal wave. So one of my best friends, I think he's an ISTP also. He back in high school, the whole grade ran after him to kick his ass because they all hated him. You know, so I think that's like the biggest example of like tribe tidal wave is like people actually want to physically harm you. So that's number one.
Okay,
Number
holy
two,
shit.
what's that?
Okay, that never happened to me.
Yeah, and then number two, I had a friend, and he's very selfish. He's one of my best friends too. I'm friends with a lot of selfish people, and I think this guy's an INTP. One of my best friends, I to this day, and it's so annoying that we always have to do things on his terms, like on his time, on his term, and it's so annoying, right? And we feel like he's acting like a diva, right? It's like, oh, you know, he can't compromise when it comes to scheduling with other people. It always has to be what works for him. So we've all been watching this TV show called Spartacus. I don't know if you've seen this TV show called Spartacus. It's a really good TV show. But anyways, we were watching it together as a group of friends, and he was part of the people that we were watching it with. But because he was acting like such a diva, one day when he was acting like a diva, we decided to watch it without him, and he freaked the fuck out, right? Because he felt left out. But it's his fault for acting like a diva, right? Like acting like a selfish person, always going on his time and not taking other people's time into consideration, you know. And yeah, he got the big tribe tidal wave, you know, that the whole tribe said, you know what, fuck this guy. We're gonna go watch it without him, you know. So
Okay, yeah.
have you ever had
Seems fair.
yeah, it sounds fair, right? But
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think I ever experienced these kinds of tidal waves. At least not that I can remember or that I really noticed. But I can say that in school, I wasn't really the popular kind of guy. Like I had my own group of friends, usually the nerdy people, and the others just left me alone and weren't interested. And I showed no interest in them because I thought they were boring, and I probably was also afraid how they might judge me. So I could always feel this strong divide to others. The others were always strange and alien, and that yeah, so that made me feel strange and alien, and also very lonely and alone, especially in my teenage years. Maybe that would be a good example. Like I can't remember the tribe uniting to kick my ass.
yeah,
But this feeling of avoidance, of being left out, this is something that yeah, haunted me, especially when I was younger. But it was, of course, totally my own fault.
it's probably good that you didn't have the tribe coming after you to kick your ass. That would be a very bad thing.
Yeah.
So isn't the German culture very individualistic though, to begin with? Like it's one of the strongest individualistic countries in the world. Like I think when they try to look at the spectrum, Germany is like high up in like personal individualism, I think. Isn't that right?
I don't know. Not.
Like
I don't know.
the Chinese culture is very collectivism, right?
All right. Yeah, it's about saving face and thinking about the collective, thinking about the family, right?
Yeah, the Chinese culture is very collective. I'm Chinese Canadian. I grew up in Canada, so Canadian culture is very collective. Also, actually, it's not as extreme as Chinese culture. The Chinese culture is, you know, extreme collectivism. But while like I would say Canadian is like slightly leaning towards collectivism, slightly leaning. But Germans, I heard, is very extreme. It's more extreme to the individualistic side. And I've had German coworkers who came to Canada to, you know, to do like a working holiday, and they said that yeah, you know, in Germany we don't like to we like to pay for our own things. You know, we don't like to, you know, because like, you know, we like to be very individualistic when it comes to stuff. So what's your experience with that? Do you think that that affected your upbringing or growing up as a person, even though you're an IP? You know, you said people left you alone, right? But maybe because there's no pressure to be collective, it's okay, you know?
Um, hmm. I don't know if I would describe the Germans as individualistic. If I think of individualistic people, I would think of Americans first.
Americans, okay.
But I would say that Germans are among the more reserved people.
Yeah.
Yeah, even compared to other countries in Europe, like Italy or France or Spain. They're more reserved and colder. Maybe not as reserved as the Scandinavians.
No, not those guys.
But somewhere in the middle. But I wouldn't describe them as very individualistic. But for me, it's also hard to describe them because I know so many Germans, and I know from the inside how different they can be.
I see.
But I would rather say that it's easier, like from the outside, to generalize and clump together.
Yeah.
How I just did with the Americans.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I would say that yeah, the Germans like to pay for themselves. They like to be independent and very reliable.
Are Scandinavians technically Germans? You know, that's what I heard from them. Like they're technically descendants of Germans to begin with.
Who I don't know too much about history, but they're also there. Yeah, they're counted as Germanic people, and it's the same language family.
I see, I see. Okay. So it seems like Germans are like play demon kind of like culture, right? Like, because you know, I've heard that
Yeah.
Germans are super serious. Like, I once told a German person a joke, and he told the first thing he said to me is like, "That's very offensive," and I'm like, "What the like,
Do you remember the joke?
what's that?"
Do you remember the joke?
Um, I
So
have
you can test it on live, test it on me.
I have a test you the joke. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember the joke now. So, um, I I met this German first. So I met this German couple while I was backpacking in Brazil. They became my friends. So while I was hanging out with them, I told them a story when I was in Ecuador and I was part of this tour group, right? And then in the tour group, there was this couple that was like like I wouldn't say they're old, but they're getting old. Like they're in like maybe like late 50s, early 60s, maybe. They're Americans, and we were in this one area in Ecuador where there was a lot of vultures. And I said to the old guy, I said, "They're waiting for you," you know. and, because we were hiking, right? And then there's so I told that joke to I told that to the German person. It's like that's really offensive. He said that to me, right? But I thought it was so funny, right? When I said that.
Yeah, I would agree with the both of you. It's super funny and also offensive. But or maybe it's not really of. How did the old guy react?
I thought it was funny because it's like,
Yeah,
because it's true, right? It's Ti true, right? Like, yeah, if he, the vulture's gonna eat him if he's dead, right?
yeah. He's older. He's closer to death than you are. Sure.
Yeah. The vultures are.
That's. I would say yeah. It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, but this is one of the German cliches. I would say that Germans don't have a sense of humor.
yeah, that is the cliche. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
when my German friend told me that was offensive, that also kind of like reinforced to me that it was the cliche was true.
yeah.
You know.
No, but yeah, I can't say that this is true in general. Of course, true with some, but yeah, not in general.
Okay, so I guess Germans are just like everyone else. There's double deciders, single observers, blah blah blah. Talk about being a
Yeah.
double observer. So you're bound with gathering and organizing. Talk about your experience with that.
Um, hmm. Yeah, good question. Like, maybe it's easier to describe it in contrast to my deciders, like as they do an op that, yeah, I would say that I have this kind of natural confidence with just figuring out stuff and getting the information and understanding the information. Like, I always feel if I want to understand something, if I want to solve a problem, it's just a matter of time. I just have to put in the work. I need to get the right information, which means I just have to look for it for long enough in the right places, and then I have to take the time to understand it. Then I have my solution. Then I can apply it, and this feels obvious to me compared to my struggle with people and the fears that I connect with people.
Yeah, yeah. I find that interesting how the double observers like that's so easy to deal with. Like how is that a problem? But then for like us EPs and IJs, we're like that is a big problem, you know.
Yeah, for me, like the IJs and especially the EPs are kind of like the cool guys who are just yeah, very easygoing with the tribe.
Yeah.
But then suddenly they freak out about the silliest shit. Like,
It
what is it with the IJs and printers?
Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah,
Um,
like I can rage at all the things. I rage all day long about Word and Excel and what my computer does and that it doesn't work and doesn't do what I want. And I get angry. I swear at it, and then it's fine.
yeah.
Like there are spikes, but as sudden as they appear, they disappear again.
Yeah.
And there is this relative yeah, calmness with things and chaos.
So before our interview, I just interviewed an ESFP, and she was freaking out about getting a mortgage. So it's like the things that people freak out about, the EPs and IJs, is ridiculous. I think in your eyes, you know.
Yeah, it's just silly. Or I can see that it's annoying, like getting a mortgage or just filling out forms. Again, this SI shit, to do it line by line and to not forget anything. I hate that.
Yeah.
But maybe because it's very, yeah, because I have to organize and be very structured.
Yeah.
And can't jump and can't find another solution around it. I just have to do it line by line. But the extent that they freak out about that stuff just seems ridiculous.
It's more like a nuisance, not like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
What about control and chaos? Talk about your balance with control and chaos.
Yeah, I think yeah. When I prepared for my latest job interviews, I asked this typical question to my friends, like, tell me three things, give me three words that you describe me with. And the first thing one of my friends said was disciplined. And I don't think I have just a big problem with control and chaos, especially because I have this, because I have a savior sleep. Like I can be disciplined, and I would say more disciplined than others, to just have my shit in order and be on time and to do what I planned on doing.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm the most chaotic person, but I'm also not super controlling. It's hard to describe. It's just weird. Yeah, like control and chaos aren't a big problem. The savior consume, that's the big problem.
Gotcha. So you're slightly an EP. Talk about like being a slight EP, you know?
Yeah, this is where the consume comes in, that I always look for something new, and that I'm extremely scattered in my mind, that I jump from thought to thought to thought, that I'm, for example, I read something, it reminds me of something, and then I think about that and I stop reading. Or I want to get some work done and have to finish this document, and just I can't concentrate on it. I just need to go somewhere else. And also, yeah, I'm interested in yeah, making new experiences, reading something else, watching something new, doing something that I haven't done before, going to, like, there are these people who travel to the same places again and again where they feel comfortable. And I think, yeah, why would I go there again? I've been there before. I want to go somewhere new.
Yeah.
Or people have like their comfort movies that they watch again and again and again.
Yeah.
And I think, and there are some movies that I like to rewatch from time to time. But why would I rewatch something that I know if I could rather watch something new?
Oh my God, that's my girlfriend. She's right beside me right now, and she's always watching the same TV shows over and over again. Yeah, I don't like to watch something I've seen before. I don't like to go to a place I've been to before. So I get what you're saying there. That's definitely very EP-ish of you. What about the chaos side? Are you slightly chaotic too?
Yes, slightly, definitely. Just because I'm so scattered, and I have to really, yeah, find ways, or find conscious ways to stay on track and to know what I need to do next. Like but it was a really learned behavior, like how I started when I started that I used tools for that, like calendars, like to-do lists over time that had to keep me focused.
We talked about your FE being personal, not personal earlier. Your emotions are not personal. You think you feel like they're personal, but then, you know, they're supposedly not with the FE. What about things? You have SE, right? So things not personal for you? Like if you lose something, it's not like the end of the world for you. It's like whatever, just replace it.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like I don't attach much sentimental value to things.
Physical objects. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because us as I people, we're upset with like everything's sentimental pretty much. Um, and then your ideas are personal with the NI, would you say?
Yes, very much so. Like yeah, the work that I want to do, for example, it just needs to be something that's meaningful to me, that I am just passionate about, that I'm interested in. Otherwise, yeah, I just couldn't do it, or I wouldn't see a reason to do it. Like I also want to do something that's valuable for the tribe and to serve the tribe, but at the same time do something that I personally enjoy or that's important to me.
Since we're in this topic, talk about your experience with feminine SE versus masculine NI. So they always say that people with masculine NI, they have that goal in their mind, and they will disrespect the sensory to achieve that goal. Um, but you're in the middle somewhere, so it's not going to be like that, but it's still masculine NI. So what is your experience with masculine NI versus feminine SE? So feminine SE, you know, bad memory or not remembering the facts. So talk about that.
Yeah, it's with a bad memory. I think my memory isn't. I think it's all right. It's not particularly good. It's not particularly bad. When I'm interested in something, I can retain a lot of information, but pulling some information from my past up just on the spot, it's extremely hard for me. It feels like, yeah, there is something in the back of my head that I can't really grab and pull to the front. But yeah, with the masculine and I, so I always had the feeling, maybe this is why I thought I was savior N, that I need to know the solution to whatever problem I'm interested in. It's like, yeah, I think in my typing video I described it as a jackhammer that's always in my head that asks why? And this is what really drives me much more than the SE. Like I use the SE, I respect the facts, but I want to get to the abstract conclusion. And also, I noticed also with a regular typing practice that once I made up my mind about something that I TI analyzed and did my sleep thing, it's really hard for me to change my mind. And I can get stuck on that in general. Yeah, with typing, it went wrong because of that, I think several times. But this can also be an advantage. For example, maybe since I was around 12 or 13 years old, I had a dream of becoming a scientist. And this is a very lengthy, arduous path that you had to take, or have to take. But I just stuck with it throughout many years, although it was extremely hard, especially in the beginning when I started studying at university. Like I was just too damn stubborn to quit, but it turned out well in the end.
Wow, that perseverance really helped with that masculine NI.
It
And masculine,
can really, yeah, exactly. It can really help, but it can also drive you off a cliff if you're not careful and if you don't check the outside world. Like it can be a tremendous advantage, but it can also be a very dangerous trap, I think.
That's very interesting. I like that perspective of yours. So you essentially you got lucky with the scientist area.
Uh, to some extent, like I achieved what I wanted to do, and then I wasn't satisfied with the solution in the end. Like it wasn't really that what I wanted, and it didn't fit in the end to me. But I achieved my goal. Yes.
But is it still useful even though you pivot to something else? Like whatever you learned is still useful?
Yes, definitely.
So it wasn't a waste of time then. It was.
No, it wasn't a waste of time, and I just had to go this path. And I think I learned a lot that's useful in general, and especially while I learned, it made me extremely happy. But actually working as a scientist afterwards wasn't the right fit for me.
Gotcha.
I could see that it was basically too TI. Like I did something that only a very few people value, and that didn't give me the meaning that I was looking for.
Oh, that's interesting. So you are seeking that NF meaning in the end. You know, like you are trying to find an NF because you're NF last, right? Like that is what you're seeking.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I really do, yes.
that is so
And
interesting.
I just try to get it with ST and NT, and that didn't really work.
Yeah.
Or at least it isn't the complete puzzle.
That's so interesting that like us humans we're always seeking that like that fourth animal essentially. You know, that's like the solution to our life problems or what our heart desires is in that fourth animal. So because
Yeah,
you just
so
kind of like talk about your NF, you're looking for that NF, your meaning, right? So
oh god, yeah, but it's really hard to put into words. Like yeah, I would really like to do something that's useful to others. Like when I imagine a scientist as a kid, I imagine someone who is part of shaping the future, who invents something that makes life for others better or improves it somehow. Like someone who cures cancer or whatever. And that's not often the reality of scientists actually do. They might just work on something that just doesn't work, or that people are not interested in, or that's just something that a very small group of people even understand or want to read about. But yeah, this would be the NF dream of it, like to do something I enjoy that helps others.
would you say it's kind of like what Bill Gates is doing with the Bill Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Foundation, where they're
Yeah, for example, what Bill Gates is doing, what Elon Musk is doing with Tesla, yeah, these would be great examples of that.
Yeah, because at the core of it, they're really serving the tribe, you know.
Yeah.
But they're enjoying what they're doing. So they enjoy what they're doing, and they're serving the tribe, and it's like the perfect mix, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great, man. So I guess it's nice to know that you kind of can see what other IPs have done and kind of like just follow a similar path to them. Not exactly the same, but you know, the map is the same. You know. So I have two last questions for you. We'll wrap up this interview, Felix. So the first one is, what advice can you give to fellow ISTPs who is struggling with FE and might be getting tribe hate? What can they do to avoid tribe hate and serve the tribe better?
Yeah, I think you first have to find a way to get through to the TIs, especially I would say if it's masculine TI. Like they will only move it if it makes sense to them. Like, and I think you would find a way to make sense to them that they will only achieve the significance that they're looking for if they're doing something valuable for the tribe. And if they share what they have, what they thought about what they worked on, and that most of the very important things you can only do if you work together.
Gotcha. And
This
then
is what I would try to explain to them. Yeah.
it's good. It's good. And the last question I have for you is you're double feminine. So talk about being a tester and a visual.
I don't really know if I can. Like the modalities never made too much sense to me, or at least I could never see, or never also in typing use it to type. Like with visual, I think for me it is always really helpful when I see something like on a whiteboard, like have certain pictures to show me how ideas work and how to maybe abstract pictures that give you an idea of what someone's talking about. And it's easier for me to take in information visually. Like I also listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to audiobooks, but it's hard for me to focus on the voice. I enjoy it, but then my mind wanders elsewhere and I get distracted by my own voice that I have in my head, and then I forget to listen to the audio. So having something visual always helps.
Okay, that's really good.
Maybe I don't feel that I can't say too much about it.
No, the visual stuff, I think the way you explained it, a lot of people that are visual has explained to me the same thing. So that sounds about accurate. The tester stuff, I think you kind of explained it already earlier in the interview when you said you don't like to go to places you've been to before. You know, you don't like to watch the same movie. So you're always like experimenting with like different new stuff. So I think you kind of explained it with that thing already earlier. Anyways, thanks for doing the interview, Felix. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. So bye to everyone. Bye to Felix.
Goodbye.